From rookie racers to experienced drivers, the SsangYong Action Racing Series has been developing talent for years. Daniel Connor, a two-time champion. Jaden Dodge picked up a championship as well. And then last year was the flying Aussie Peter Bennett, who stormed home for victory. Who will it be this year? Proudly supported by LDV, Hankook, Elf and BGW Wheels, this is the SsangYong Action Racing Series. Hampton Downs Motorsport Park. It's the scene for the opening round of the weekend. Of course, this is your weekend cruise destination. Make it your mission this weekend to get out here and have some fun, from the cafes to the go-karts. It's all on race simulators, but now for 2018, 2019, it's the real deal and a new class of drivers lining up on the grid for the opening showdown of the weekend. And let's take a look at the grid for the opening race of the new series. Callum Hedge on pole, alongside him Murray Brook. Then it's All West, Mallard, Pruging, Stoneman, Cherie, Morgan Foster. Watch out for Charlotte Pointing, getting that scholarship drive this year out of Australia. So a field of 14. Rolling start here at Hampton Downs, the happy place to spend your weekend. It's a destination place to go for a bit of a cruise, but it's not about cruising today, Mork. Opening race in the SsangYong Action Racing Series as they take turn one for the new season.
No, you're exactly right, Brownie. We've got a lot of the established players coming back, but also a lot of debutants, and they are racing on the long circuit this weekend, and that long circuit, it is one tough character to try to tame.
Yeah, that's going to be a real change for some of the newbies in the series.
Well, not only they've got to learn the circuit, they've also got to learn how to race. They've got to learn the racecraft about the SsangYong Utes, because we've seen, competitors come back 2 or 3 years and still not get it right. So there is an awful lot for them to learn.
And they've got to watch out for that famous double bastard corner.
Yeah, look, I've not met one person that actually has hit that corner 2 laps in a row and got it right. So there's a lot of interpretation into that corner, and to get it right, I think it's going to take a lot of effort.
Yes, aptly named. And it's a great chance for those who haven't raced on the long circuit to get a taste of how it really sweeps and loops around that bottom part here at Hampton Downs before you rejoin and come back up towards the hairpin, and then, of course, the entrance onto that main straight.
Oh, it is, so you've got Callum Hedge out the front here showing everybody a clean set of heels, and of course he's coming off a high. He's done so many miles during the off-season, and that's paying dividends. But we've got Murray Brook back as well, and we know how much of a hard charger Murray is. Of course, he finished the series on a high last year, so he has a lot to prove.
And a lot of chances too. Christina All West, number 55. She's such a great performer in this class and category.
Yeah, also got Kirk Stoneman coming back for another year. Of course, he's one of the more established drivers in the field, but at the moment, Callum here is certainly showing everybody to go. But here goes Christina on Mark Mallard. It's all very well having a crack down the inside here, Brownie, but if you get it wrong, this is the last corner coming onto the front straight, and if you get it wrong and you take a little bit of speed out, then you're going to get swamped by the train.
And here comes that train up and over the hill here at Hampton Downs. Great class to learn about your drafting and your slipstreaming.
Oh, and of course here, like Pukekohe, we have the bump drafting. Where the ute behind you gets in front, they give you a hit, and you actually pick up 6 or 7 kilometres an hour.
And now the repositioning to go into turn one, because if you get it wrong coming out of turn one, it could be all over.
That's what I say about Mark Mallard. We're now a little bit wide, trying to take the battle to Christina, and he's lost 2 spots and may lose another one to Kirk Stoneman.
Gee, it's amazing. When you think about the fact there's going to be no defending champion of Peter Bennett coming back as he's doing the BMW scholarship, and some of the other former champions aren't in the class, but the racing actually is exactly the same. It's bonnet to bonnet, bumper to bumper.
That's what I love about the SsangYongs, and let's throw in there corner for corner, lap after lap, and that's what I love about this SsangYong series. And that's why I'm so excited to look at all the debutants coming through this category, because as I've said before, and I'll repeat it again, there is no better category to nurture up-and-coming talent than SsangYong.
Exciting, cost-effective motor racing. You can lease one of these for about $8,000.
I think you can actually buy one for $8,000, so for a very, very small investment, you can go out and have a bit of fun and race in the most competitive series New Zealand has to offer.
And if you've got a bit of an ego and fancy yourself as a bit of a motor racer, this is the great place to learn how to race, isn't it, in this class?
Oh, it is. You've got Mark Mallard, who's running the series now, taking over from Mark Pitch, and of course behind him, probably one of the most established racers in all of New Zealand, which is Kirk Stoneman, and he is over him like a rash. He's throwing everything at him. He's working him over, yet they're still side by side and haven't even run panels yet.
So coming down this famous part of the track here at Hampton Downs, before the straight, and then of course the big sweeper onto the main straight, and it's Hedge, Brooke, Christina All West. You've got to say young Callum Hedge, a very, very good young talent. Christina All West, once again, holding off as Prugene. He's been really good too, taking a look down the inside.
Yeah, look, although this is new in the series in terms of, races, Todd Prugene, he's actually coming of age here, and he's one we're going to watch with a great deal of interest. He's taken on Christina. Christina's a very harsh, fair competitor, so, this will be new ground as well for Todd, because he's racing a lot more of establishment than what he has in the past.
And of course, one of the key sayings out of the championship last year as we go into the last lap, it's all about maintaining your speed and maintaining momentum.
Yeah, it is. You have to keep the momentum going. That they're a 4-speed gearbox. They don't have a huge amount of horsepower, so to combat that, you've got to keep the momentum. You've got to come into the corner, get the braking, release the brakes, and then just use the mechanical grip and keep it going. And that's part of the racecraft, and that's what those, the debutants are going to find.
Prugene holding the inside line.
Oh, he's got it.
And he maintains it. Christina All West is going to do the double dip and crossover.
Yeah, but it's a long way around there. If Christina can stay there, then she'll have the inside. No, she can't. She's conceded the spot. But there's one more corner to go, and then we get that notorious double bastard, as they call it. So anything can happen once you enter that corner.
Because it keeps doubling around, sort of like a double apex.
It does. It just gets tighter, and then when you think you got through it, you think, oh gosh, there's a second part of this, and it's even worse again.
Then all of a sudden it opens up again.
Yeah, watch for the crisscross here. Todd's going to go up higher. Christina will have a look down the inside. And even if she does that, Brownie, it's not going to do anything, because it's going to cost her exit speed going into the hairpin.
See, the tyres are screeching and working hard too, aren't they?
That's just how hard that everybody's pushing these SsangYong Utes.
So a great battle pack for the minor places to try and get a place on the podium in the opening race of the series for the SsangYong Action Racing Series, these Butte Utes.
Slip it down the inside. There's not a great deal of room. What Christina needs to do now, she needs to work on the execution coming out of this corner, leading into the last one. Drop back a little bit, get an absolute blinder coming into the sweeper, and then just keep that momentum. Keep the momentum building from a third of the way through, 2/3 right to the exit of the corner, and just hope they can get the draft coming over the front straight and just pip Todd on the start-finish line.
But it's the young 14-year-old out of Maraetai, Callum Hedge. He's a real talent for the future. He is a racer. And he's going to take the checkered flag for the opening race of the new series here at Hampton Downs. Murray Brook will come home in second. Here's that battle for third. Who's it going to be as they charge down the line? Did Todd Prugene hold on from a flying Christina All West as the rest of the field finished their opening race of the new series? So confirming the top three, Hedge first, Brooke second, Christina All West just got up and pipped Todd Prugene on the line for that place at the podium. So that battle will continue right throughout the rest of the races coming up here at Hampton Downs.
Yeah, it was a good race, always fun battling in the SsangYongs. Have a bit of speed this weekend, which is pretty cool, making my return. Not doing any other rounds, but it's good to be back.
So again, it's good to be back on the top of the podium, obviously.
Yeah, it's real good. Thanks to LDV New Zealand for the drive, and SsangYong New Zealand as well for helping me out and bringing me out to the track and stuff.
Callum's pretty quick out there. Roof improvement, Ute's going really well. It's a little bit bent from the last round, but seems to be going all right.
Yeah, unfortunately, a double bastard. I copped a direct hit in the front wheel and it put the toe out, so she was a bit of a handful. But me and Todd had a fantastic race. Got it by, 006 probably on the line. So, no, it was pretty good race. I thoroughly enjoyed being back in the series.
What a way to start too. A great battle right from the start, a flying finish, and then a great drive by Callum Hedge. Stick around. Who's going to take out the second showdown of the weekend? That's coming up. Welcome back, and here's Mark Mallard, the driving force behind this year's series.
SsangYong Race Series, Mark Mallard here. We had a great first race at Hampton Downs, and it's been fantastic. It's good to see so many utes out racing. A lot of people thought that we were going to be gone, but we've had such great support from SsangYong. Still got our parts truck, still got support from SsangYong and a great prize pool. We're so happy to be out racing, developing that next superstar with Charlotte Ponting and others. It's just been fantastic to see so much good racing going on here at Hampton Downs. We've got utes for sale right now at $7,000. A lot of the people have taken advantage of that $7,000 ute. It's been fantastic to get more races in with the cheap price that SsangYong's doing on these utes, and we'd love to see you out here racing with us.
This is how the grid lines up for race 2. Hedge once again on pole alongside Murray Brooks. They'll continue their battle. Next row is Mallard and Stoneman, all West and Prugene side by side after that very, very close finish in race 1. So watch out for the top 6 up the front, and plenty of fun further back down the field. Once again, we line up here at Hampton Downs for race 2. And will they get off to a nice clean start again around that first corner? Always challenging here at Hampton Downs.
It is, Brownie, and this race here, you have to establish yourself very early because it's based off the fastest lap time from race 1. So, of course, the cream's always going to get to the top in this kind of situation. And here we go, 3 abreast. And as we know, at some stage you've got to get to the apex, so it can only go down to 1, 2 at the absolute maximum.
Charging into that opening lap around the long part of the circuit. So they've got one of these under their belts now, and they know exactly how to approach it or try and sort it out if they made any mistakes from the first time in the first race.
Yeah, talking about mistakes, you know, listened to Christina there after the interview. That's the ute in 4th place. She had an incident where it put the wheel alignment out. Doesn't sound like much over the microphone, of course, but when you're driving the ute, it is a huge deal because it changes the driving dynamics of the car, it changes the braking, but also changes the confidence that you have in the ute, and that's a big factor in one of these things here. So, you know, although she had a very close battle for 3rd, I think she'll be more of a factor in this race.
As they swarm around coming out of the long part of the circuit down towards the higher pool, hairpin, Hedge, Brook, and then that battle continues with the other contenders. All West is up there as well. Good cool conditions, so lap speeds are really good today.
Oh, it's ideal conditions, you know. The track is nice and clean, it's cool, there's a little bit of cloud cover, so there's not a great deal of UV coming through. So if there's any kind of conditions where you're going to go have an honest, hard crack, it is right now.
Callum Hedge continues to lead, the young talent coming out of this class and then moving up to other classes in New Zealand motorsport and doing a really good job for a young teenager and showing lots of maturity. Like Todd Prugene coming back into the series, showing good maturity, and all the other debutants further back down the field just sort of getting a feel for the racing.
Oh, it is, man, and it's an awful lot to feel as well because, like we said, it's so new to everybody. You know, you've got 14 very angry SsangYong utes. Everybody's trying to have a crack at every corner. You've got to learn how to survive, Brownie. You've got to learn how to be aggressive. You've got to learn how to be passive at the same time. And it's an awful lot to learn, and probably one of the most busiest categories we have.
And when it's busy down the back and you're like a newbie, obviously there must be a certain amount of nerves. Some people might be chucking up, they might be vomiting, they might be sort of been able to sleep the night before.
Oh, look,
how do you control that?
Oh, look, I used to be sick just about every time before I went in the car. The nerves were that bad, especially before race 1. Everything settled down, but it settles down with experience, and with experience becomes maturity, and everything becomes easier. You don't necessarily become faster, but everything just becomes slow motion when you're in the ute, and you get used to the smells, you get used to the sound, you get used to all the braking markers, and everything essentially becomes second nature to you, and it just makes it a lot easier.
Well, when you're looking at high performance New Zealand and modern day coaching, it's all about learning from your mistakes and your experiences on the track. And talking about mistakes and an experience.
A couple of debutants there, that's yeah, well, actually not a debutant, one debutant and one of the established battlers. But look, and that's just the interpretation. And you know, you touched base on it before, Brownie, about being new. When you're an established guy coming up upon a newbie, you don't know if they're going up high to let you through or that's just their natural line. And that's part of the calculation you have to take on board as an experienced race driver, you know, battle with someone new, because they don't know what's right, they don't know what's wrong, they just drive.
Tangled up in 2.
Yeah.
The old classic learning curve, and that's that modern mantra in all sports of around the country at the moment, and all forms of coaching is letting people, the athletes, learn by their mistakes, but at some stage the coaches have got to pull them aside, like a driving coach say, you've got to watch out for this when you've got drivers all around you. You've got to have a certain amount of spatial awareness to try and avoid making the same mistake over and over again, because in motorsport that could be not just costly from a results point of view, but from a money point of view.
Right, here's Chris here in the draft, and you're exactly right, but this is where this differs, is that motorsport is the ultimate team sport, but it's also the ultimate individual sport as well, because when you're a driver, essentially there is no driver coach. You are the driver coach because there is no one else in the seat beside you that can do the replays corner for corner, lap after lap. So a lot of it is intuition, a lot of it is an initiative as well.
Yeah, it's that sort of feel, isn't it? Literally driving by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, it is, but when you're new, you don't know what the seat of the pants feels like. So it's
Am I doing a good job?
Yeah.
Well, you're winning the race. Like Callum Hedge, he's doing a great job.
Christine down the inside. She's just going to draw Mark Mallard all the way into turn 1 here, or turn 2, sorry. And you can't help but think the beneficiaries here are going to be Todd Prugine and Captain Kirk behind him.
This is a bit like deja vu for Christina Raw West.
If she can hold it there, it just frees the ute up mid-corner, let Mark get on the inside, but just challenge him all the way around. She can hold it. We know the utes can stay there. Now she's got the inside running.
Same sort of racing, side by side.
And that's Racecraft Brownie, what you just saw right there, and that's what the new people have to develop.
Yeah. Different bloke, same corner, double bastard again.
Correct.
Callum Hedge, geez, looks smooth.
Oh, he does. He's got so much confidence. A little bit, the back end stepped out there. He just corrected it, the steering locked it, still at full throttle. What we're seeing here is maturity beyond his years.
And that classic motor racing saying smooth is fast. Sometimes the guy that's out in front doesn't look like he's going fast, but because he's going apex to apex, smooth, he's got that momentum, the power on, the power off, you can get a really good quick lap time.
Oh, you do, and sometimes you'll get out of the car after a lap and think, geez, that was slow, and you look and you think, man, that's the fastest lap I've ever done, and you hit the nail on the head. You hit all the KPIs, which is the brake markers, the apexes, and the throttle position points. If you get them all right, it's going to be fast.
And then, of course, the other thing is sitting back with the race engineer and learning how to sort of unravel the data, what the track is showing, what you did on the track.
It's all very well, but not many people can actually listen to what you got to say.
Data. I don't want data. Yeah. I just want to dart the baby home. Look at Callum Edge. He's going to go 2 for 2. Back to back. And it's going to be Murray Brook, the old goatee. He's going to go second again, but another great scrap for third, but I think Christina Raw West has got this one tied up. So another podium place for the top 3 in race 2 in the SsangYong Action Racing Series. Hedge, Brook and Christina Raw West once again set the standard for the new season, but Mallard, Stoneman, Prugine, Alex Sherry and Charlotte Ponting all going well inside that top 10.
Yeah, pretty good, eh? Feels real good. Made a couple of changes that one. Felt a little bit better. Made the tyre pressures a bit nicer to drive. Yeah, and I'm going well.
We just need to get it a little bit faster so we can get that P1, but Callum's going way too fast for us at the moment, so we need to try and find something and then try and give him a challenge in this reverse grid, see if we can get through the traffic a bit faster.
Yeah, no, obviously I got a good run on Mark going down towards turn 2, and Todd was giving me a helping hand, and I'd already latched onto the back of Mallard, so we were kind of freight training it. Unfortunately, Todd, then when we pulled away, Todd gave me that one extra punt which put me straight into Mallard, and it did a bit of damage to the bonnet, but lucky we were both able to haul it up at the end.
She races utes in Australia, now here in New Zealand as the SsangYong Scholarship winner. Number 40, Charlotte Ponting.
My name's Charlotte Ponting, I'm 19 and I'm from Newcastle, Australia. We're going into our first race now in about 10 minutes, so I'm really not sure what to expect. I guess I'll know my aims and goals after this first race. I'll see where I'm sitting with all the other drivers and just go from there. My favourite meal would be any kind of like Indian or just something like rice with like a curry or something, or pasta. My favourite movie is any kind of like romantic comedy or soppy love story or something. Scott McLaughlin is definitely my favourite racing car driver. I've looked up to him since we were back in the Magistical Driver program when I was about 12, 13 in go-karts. And he's, by far who I look up to most.
So watch out for Charlotte Pointing and our breast awareness scholarship winner, Ute number 40 in the top 5 spot. Up against Lance Northcroft, Monafair, Foster, Van der Loos, Cherie, Pruging, Stoneman, Mallard and Christina Royal West. Remember, this is the reverse grid race. Will the curse continue, Mork? Tell them about the curse as we start race 3. The newbies out in front. What a great feeling this will be.
Of course, the curse is that no one has ever started from the back row or outside the top 10 to win this race. Callum Head's got an awful lot of pace, but you see in there he's at the back of the field and he's got an awful lot of work to do around this long, challenging track. Oh, look at this, Brownie, 3-4 abreast. And of course, you got new people that it's first ever race meeting on the front there on the right-hand side, far hard. So, you know, I spoke to him before the start of the race. Everybody was trying to psych him out, and he doesn't really know what to do. Smoke. Oh.
Locking up under brakes. Look at that 3-4 wide down the long part here at Hampton Downs. Oh, nervous newbies having a crack here.
Oh, it is. It's all about that interpretation, you know. It's not nice when you're new, because you don't know how fast you can go. You don't know what you should do. You don't know what the protocols are, what the expectations are. And, you know, sometimes you can actually spook yourself out even before you started.
Well, Charlotte's doing a pretty good job there in the pink ute, number 40, the breast awareness ute, which is a great initiative. Out in front at the moment, it's Foster, number 21. He's done the right thing at the pointy end of the field. He's got out, some clear air.
He has. He's, you know, although we're only into lap 1, when you've got that much clear air and you look behind you and there's another 13 or 14 of these things battling with each other.
Oh,
Kirk
more
Stoneman going
locking
out
up
wide.
under the brakes, stucking down the inside through the hairpin as they come up towards the established part of the circuit here down the Porsche Dipper. 3 wide, they can live out there because it's got such a great flow.
Yeah, they can live 3 wide going in, but once you get to that point right there on the screen, you have to be 2 abreast, otherwise you run out of space.
Yeah, someone has to back off at some stage. Yield, as they say.
And that's the problem. No one likes to yield in this category.
What, motor racing drivers turn it up? Hey, the one thing from the second race, you talked a bit about Callum Head. You said they altered the tyre pressures. Murray Brooks, he wants to get a bit of a gain. It's one-make motor racing. Why can one guy be so faster than the other guys, and what can they change?
It's just confidence, and that's why one person will always be a little bit quicker than somebody else. Everybody has that X factor, but one person has the X factor. And in this category this weekend, it happens to be Callum Hedge. With regards to what they can change, is actually a lot of mechanical freedoms. You can change the wheel alignment, but the tyre pressures is the big one. It's a little bit sunnier now, so you need to adjust the tyre pressures so they don't come on song. And what I mean by that, Brownie, is that at a point in time, the tyre pressures will get to the best in terms of handling. Before that, the car's a little bit spongy, and after that, the car will start handling bad. So you've got to try to aim for that point, you know, midway through the race. With a reverse grid race, you actually engineer it so it comes on song very early, so you can actually be aggressive from the very first corner for lap 1, 2 or 3 and try to make as many places up. And then you just nurse or conserve it home from there.
So you get out in front, grab the lead, and then try and stay out of trouble and hang on for it.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And that's the benefit when you're in front and you have a little bit of a gap like we're seeing now. You can actually go up high, you can take all your racing lines without being defensive. You're freeing the car up on the apex, you're allowing it to keep all the momentum going in it, and you're actually naturally faster. But the minute you start becoming the meat and the sandwich and defending, you essentially take the ute speed out for everybody, and then you have to defend and just survive.
As you see here with this great battle between Christina Royal West and Prugine, he's got a bit of stuff hanging off the back.
May just throwing it in there and just straight out the other side. Hey, look, I'm going to say, isn't this a success story for Todd? You know, he obviously had a few issues a little while ago, but he's come back a completely different person. He's a lot more mature now. He's taken a different approach to his racing, and the results are speaking for themselves.
Well, that's a sign of maturity and learning from your mistakes, which is what we were talking about before. And it's up to the athletes, as they say, to take ownership. That's the other buzzword, where if you're an All Black team or a Kiwis team or a football team, a netball team, whatever, it's up to these athletes behind the wheel to take ownership of what they're doing out there. Get advice from people like yourself, driving instructors, but then you've got to go out and do it, learn from your mistakes, and actually say, well, this is my plan to get better.
And talking about planning to get better, these 4 utes here, That's Mark Mallard. It's Callum Hedge, Kirk Stoneman, and they're actually battling each other. And that's where Callum's going to hit the problem now, is that first 2 or 3 laps, he's battling people that are new to the category. The passes are very easy and very natural. But then you hit that roadblock, which is establishment. And that's why he'll struggle now to try to make much more outroads.
Here's the 2 female racers in the field. Christina Raw West, the motoring mum, showing Charlotte the way to go, the scholarship winner. And I liked her attitude. I said, I just want to get in the car, get a feel for it. Then I can sort of make an assessment about how I'm going and what I've got to do to be competitive. But it's Foster out in front. All West has grabbed second. Prugene is ducked into third. Charlotte just dropping back into fourth at the moment as the more experienced drivers muscle their way through.
And of course, Charlotte is very experienced. She's just come off the back of racing the Super Utes in Australia. So she does have experience in the Ute category, albeit that the SsangYongs are going to be completely different to what she's racing. But, she's a racer at heart. You can already see that. She conceded a spot, so instead of panicking, she just fell in behind the back of Todd and is probably learning, well, this is where he breaks. If he can do it, I can do it. He's turning in here. If he can do it, I can do it. So it's all part of that racecraft, gathering the information and then just putting it to use.
Yeah, and also showing that racecraft and experience, not to try and stop someone from taking the spot, because otherwise you're just going to cause a crash.
Yeah, Foster Ute way up high, but of course she's still got to run down the hairpin here. So if Christina can go side by side, she's going to have the run down into this very tight left-hander.
She could live there, and she's made the move. Can she make it stick down into the dipper?
I dare say that she'll use every inch of road on the way in. That's exactly what we've seen. Full entitlement, yep.
That's great racecraft, and that's real good experience.
Oh, it is, yeah.
And now look, there's the freight train. Prugene's in on the back of this and say, here we go. We don't want to do too much of a bump draft, but they'll do that up and over the top of the hill, no doubt.
Now, look, Todd's going to set himself up for an absolute flyer off the last corner here, this magnificent sweeper. Keep the momentum going, like we saw Christina in race 2, and just use that momentum to take the place before the start-finish line.
Hedge racing hard, trying to get up through the field to break that curse, but I think the curse is pretty safe at this stage.
It just goes to prove you can have all the bonnet flapping around there. That shouldn't come to any trouble unless the other side of the bonnet pin breaks and he's going to be in a fair bit of strife. But it goes back to what we're saying. You can have all the speed in the world and all the confidence in the world, but once you hit traffic, it really doesn't account for a great deal.
Last lap, Christina Raw West. Can she hang on? Foster holding on to second. Prugene making the dab down into third. Charlotte's dropped back now, further back down the field as the other guys, the other Utes, perhaps their pressure's designed to come on towards the end of the race.
Here we go. This ain't going to be pretty. This is 3 into 1.
Oh, here we go. Hedge muscling his way down into a top 3 spot.
Man, that is just...
Fantastic drive.
That's an awesome pass.
Gee, he's done well to try and break that curse.
He did, I just made the comment about how he was struggling coming up the front straight, and he is trying hard, and that's just the proof of a professional athlete. You never give up until the whistle blows, the checkered flag is waved, and we've seen that here, and he's never given up. And talk about not giving up, this battle is going to continue all the way through. Todd is all over the back. He's trying to unravel Christina. She's a very established campaigner, and he's got a lot of work to do.
Around this famous double-bastard corner, they've had a tango there before, but Christina Raw West and that Dale ITM Ute doing a good job. She's trying to pick up her win for the weekend. Prugene all over her like a rash. Doing the old bump draft now, down the dipper.
Yeah, Christine, she's just going to keep it really tight, okay? Yeah. She's actually dragging the Ute down the inside, making sure there is no interpretation that there's any room for him to go down the inside.
So what was it, 0.006 of a second?
Yeah, no, it was after race 2.
For that finish in race 1, so... Will they set themselves up for another flying finish, this time for the checkered flag, not for just a place on the podium?
There was a little bit of break lock up from Christina. I thought that was going to cost her, but it actually, if anything, she actually gained from it because Cullum is now on the pitch. Oh, Kirk sideways in the background, but Cullum is the spoiler in all of this now.
So one more corner to go, then up and over the hill, Hampton Downs. It's the destination place to go and race and spend your weekend. Great place for a cruise. There's go-karts, there's cafes, race simulators. But this is the real deal, and it's Christina Raw West who's done a superb job, and she's going to take the checkered flag and pick up the win in race 3 of the weekend. Prugene holding on to a flying Callum Hedge to wrap up a place on the podium. Good racing. And then the rest of the newbies who started from that reverse grid start coming back down the field. So Christina All West gets the win in race 3 from Todd Prugine. Callum Hedge rounds out a place on the podium. Brooke Foster Stoneman Pointing, Cherie Mallard, Van der Loos wrap up the top 10. Northcott, Monifar, Henny and Bryant. One more race to go.
Me and Todd got that gap on everyone. It was pretty cruisy until we looked and I saw Callum coming in. He was fair stonking, so I backed Prugine into Callum, which gave me the chance to take the win with a little bit more of a rest out there.
It was pretty intense trying to get through the traffic, but yeah, it was pretty good racing all round. Pretty stoked that we made it to the podium after all the clutch issues we've had over the weekend, but yeah, pretty happy.
Yeah, the track got a little bit busy at the start, didn't really have anywhere to go, so I just pushed through and followed everyone through without getting involved into any incidents. Probably a little bit better than yesterday. Track's nice and cold and first session of the day, so it's going good. Hi everyone, Callum Hedge here, driver of the number 17 LDV sponsored SsangYong Race Shoot. Yesterday we had really good speed and managed to qualify on pole and win both races. Just started from the back that race and managed to finish third, so that was fun. Really looking forward to race 4. Here's the grids.
So it's Callum Hedge and Christina All West, the fastest in the points from the weekend. Brooke Prugine, Stoneman Mallard, they've had some great battles mid-pack. Cherie Foster Pointing, Van der Loos, Tom rounding out the top 10. And further back down the field, some of the newbies getting their experience, a taste of the SsangYong Action Racing Series. So, great battle out in front. Race 4, Callum Hedge, Christina All West. So you got the motoring mum and you got the young dude out in front to set the pace as we go racing.
Christina has to execute this move on Callum very early in the race if she's going to have any real... Oh, man, look at that rub and racing coming out of turn 1. So I was going to say, is any real chance of having an honest attack at Callum Hedge, because she's got to get in front and then try to dictate the pace from there.
What about your tyre wear? 4 races over the weekend. I mean, they'll be playing around, sort of altering those. But, I mean, what can you do at the end of the race? I mean, how much tyre wear have you got left?
Well, that's actually a lot of tyre wear because everybody had to start with a brand new set of tyres. And actually, the more tread wear you have, the faster the utes become. So, that won't affect them at all. The engineering of the tyre pressures will a little bit, but Christina, she has to have an honest crack. If she's going to have a crack at this and hope to take the race win, it's got to be done now.
The other way, of course, is to create a bit of pressure, sit right behind the bumper of Hedge, make him race in the rear view mirror and try and force a mistake. So we'll see if she can do that, or will he be able to just clear the air and get away and break that slipstream further back down the field. Number 51, Van der Loos, as they go wide, coming on to the main part of the circuit. Down through the hairpin.
Going a little bit wide, yeah, but like you're saying, but at the moment, Callum only has a probably 1 or 2% advantage over Christina. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's actually a wholesale amount when you get inside the racing car. And it'll just allow him after, lap 1, lap 2, just to pull out 1 or 2 car lengths every corner. Then before you know it, he can then start driving the natural lines, won't have to be defensive. And then, of course, then that lead will just keep multiplying out.
14-year-old from St. Kitts and doing a really good job. Further back down the field, charging through, having a look down the inside. And good racing lines coming out of that Motul sweeper there.
Well, you have to, Brownie, because that corner there, we're seeing in the background, leads up to the front straight. And of course, the front straight, it's all uphill as well. So you have to keep the maximum car flow going, because if you know you knock 1 or 2 kilometres an hour off coming off the exit, you've got to try to accelerate that going up the hill. And that's a very hard thing to do.
A great track here with the up and overs, the undulations. It's got a real nice flow. This is a great corner. Turn 1 in Hampton Downs, one of the iconic corners of New Zealand motorsport now. And now that they're racing on the long track this weekend, you get this big long straight to widen up and have a duck down the inside or go too, whoa, braking. Hold on to it, Christina.
Wasn't that a magnificent sight? one ute coming in the picture, all of a sudden fans out to be 3.
They just spread out.
Yeah, when you're in a drive, you don't look left, you look right. So,
let's have a crack here.
Absolutely.
And I think it's Brooke that's taken the chance. He went out wide, she went down the inside. So now they're all trying to put the old pressure on Callum Hedge, trying to trim the hedge, we could say, on a Sunday. And he's going to get a chance. And Prujean's hanging on to this top 4 battle like he has been all weekend, along with the likes of Mallard and Stoneman. So good, competitive, close racing as she has a look down the inside, sticks it in. Oh, Brooke's gone wide. And can she make it and hold it into the hairpin, or will he come back on that inside?
Isn't it magnificent dynamics from the SsangYong utes? You know, you can run off the track, keep the momentum going, and you still slide it down the inside. But the main beneficiary here is Callum Hedge. He's now checked out, and this battle is on for second place.
And one of the great things about this track, you just saw it then, is one corner actually flows into the other corner. So you may be on the inside of one, and then you're on the outside of the next, but then you've still got a chance, if you can hold it too wide, and you can be brave and don't get caught up in the marbles, you can actually still race side by side because the corners have a nice flow.
Oh, it does, yeah. For example, turn 2 dictates turn 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 on this track. So if you get turn 2 wrong, you don't actually recover for another about 35, 40 seconds later. So that's why it's so pivotal to get it right every time.
And he's certainly got it right. Callum Hedge, big lead down. It's a big scrap for second, third and fourth in that top 5. This is the battle group. Christina Raw West, Murray Brooke, Todd Prujean, Mark Mallard. Brooke round the outside at turn 1.
Christina, she slotted down the inside, and this is the respect. This is what I love about this category, is there is respect amongst thieves.
Which sounds stupid, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Even they would say, yes, there is honour in thieves. And there is Christina Raw West holding on to it. And I tell you what a thief there. Prujean, he's just stolen that third spot from Murray Brooke.
Straight down the inside. Murray didn't defend it, which is quite surprising because, given how, we were talking about top 3 in the podium is at stake, I would have thought he would have probably tried to defend it a little bit more, but maybe he's got an alternative plan for later on in the race.
And don't forget, some of them have had clutch issues. The tyre wear shouldn't be a problem. They've been fantastic racing side by side. One make motor racing at its best, and of course, a great place to learn how to do your drafting. But he just looks like he's settled back a bit, hasn't he, number 30?
Yeah, look, sometimes when you're in that position, you realise, man, I'm going hard here, I'm starting to lose a little bit of control. You take half a lap just to regather your thoughts and then come back and have an honest, hard crack, and I dare say that's exactly what we're going to see here from Murray Brooke.
Mallard behind him, and then the Myland Ute of Kirk Stoneman. They've been a great supporter of the class over the years.
Well, he's a stalwart of New Zealand motorsport, isn't he? Captain Kirk, he's done everything, very successful campaigner, and he is very good at the driver development as well. A lot of the young drivers come into the category will get involved with Captain because he tells you as it is. He doesn't give any false pretenses. He doesn't try to cover anything up, and he's very black and white, very honest, but very successful.
And of course, great at working with these machines too.
Yes.
77, having a look down the inside, getting himself set up for the big run up and over the hill. But it's still West, Prujean, Brooke, Mallard, Stoneman. Rest of the field making their charge. Hedge still setting that pace. Last lap. He's going to make a really good start to the series. A guest spot for Callum Hedge.
There's one thing that you can hear on the audible sound is how much...
Oh, get off the grass, mate.
I was going to say how much the tyres are squealing, but get off the grass as well. So, even Callum Hedge there, albeit has got such a lead, you can't back off when you're that far in front. But this is the battle here. Christina Racing, she's going to be aggressive, defensive on the inside, which then allows one ute to go one side, Murray Brooke to tuck down the inside of Todd Prujean.
And we were just talking a bit about Murray Brooke just buttoning off, but now he may have been biding his time and waiting for his chance to pounce.
He's had a sniff. He's had a sniff of third place. He realises, well, Todd's going to be having to pass Christina on one side. If he goes left, I'm going right, and vice versa. And that's the benefit that Murray has at the moment, is no matter which way Todd goes, I dare say he's going to go exactly the opposite.
Although he did lose out a bit there, so Prujean has still got that stranglehold on spot number 3.
And that comes back to, that comes back to the racecraft we're talking about, is that That all cost him coming off the exit.
Yeah, but it looks good, doesn't it?
Oh, it looks very spectacular, no doubt about that. But straight's not long enough for Murray to get any real benefit of that sideways action.
So Christina Orr West holding on to a spot in second place at the moment. Prugene, Brooke, Mallard, Stoneman. Hedge is cleared off. He's going to go for the third win of the weekend. So if this is going to be the drivers that'll contest the rest of the series, we're in for a hell of a showdown.
Oh, we're in for a special treat, aren't we? If this is just round one and they're already this competitive and they get momentum going round 2, 3, 4 and 5, we're in for something very special.
And it's great that a young kid like Callum Hedge can use this as a springboard to other classes and other categories as he goes on his pathway to become perhaps the next Scotty McLaughlin, the next Shane Van Gisbergen, or of course the next Scotty Dixon and Brendan Hartley. So Callum Hedge, young rising star of New Zealand motorsport, he'll get his third win of the weekend. In the SsangYong Action Racing Series, Christina Orr West hanging on for a great second spot, and Prugene coming home to wrap up a place on the podium, followed by a whole field of very enthusiastic, experienced drivers and a bunch of newbies as well, to wrap up the opening weekend of the SsangYong Action Racing Series. So there's your top three: Hedge, Orr West and Prugene, Brooke, Mallard, Stoneman. Great racing in the mid-pack. Cherie, Pointing, Foster and Tom Vanderloos rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, the round win is always cool. Haven't ever actually got a round win in the SsangYong series, so it's cool to finally get one after 2 years of trying, which is awesome. People battling is always going to slow each other down. There was like 4 of them, so while they were battling, I managed to just pull a couple car links so that they couldn't draft back up onto me and managed to take the win.
Yeah, no, I had a big one just over the hill and down. I didn't want to plough into the back of Murray, so I took it out, and as soon as I put a bit of a lock on the wheel, she was gone. But yeah, me and Murray had a good tussle and lots of bump drafting. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a good race. Got a little bit messy at some points. It was pretty tough racing, rubbing alongside Christina and Murray, but yeah, we all seemed to keep it on track, which was good, and stoked to be on podium in the MWN Youth again.
So here's the points after the opening round. 396, Hedge just 6 in front of Christina Orr West, followed by Murray, Brooke, and that battle will continue right throughout the season. Round 2 at Pukekohe before Christmas. Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park in Taupo and Circuit Chris Amon after Christmas in February, and then the mighty Enduros. SsangYong Action Racing Series, proudly supported by LDV, Hankook, Elf and BGW Wheels.